A question can be illogical, fine.
Yeah.
But you cannot say that if it's any question, like someone say, why don't you have Pope or anything? If they ask any question, it cannot be a question which cannot be asked. That's a different question, that everyone is not specialized in the field of answering the atheist. So one thing is we should encourage questions, let it be anything under the sun. But everyone is not specialized in replying. Because while if you're not specialized, you may falter and break the principles of Islam while replying. So I know many guys while replying to the non-Muslim, they go overboard and they go against the principles of the Quran. They go against the verses of the Quran. They go against the Hadith unknowingly, unintentionally. So that's a big problem. Number two, there were some du'as who fully like science. Science is ultimately, science is on top of the world. And they used to speak, oh yes, yes. Many, those same du'as today say don't speak about science. So I said, why going to extreme? Yes, science, you have to respect science. We agree with science, but not everything can you prove scientifically. So I believe that science is a very good tool. There are many guys who say science should not be used, which I disagree with. Science is a very good tool for spreading the deen among the atheists, because for the atheists today, science and logic is the ultimate, you could say, ultimate yardstick.
Yeah.
So we cannot neglect science. What we should do, that many of the things within the Muslim Ummah, which because of preconceived wrong ideas, we think about science, which is not going against the Quran, it's not going against the Hadith, it's not going against the Sharia, but we have a preconceived idea that this is against Sharia. And when science says something against it, we defend it. Rather, we should look at it that is this what a Sharia says? So if we go to the extent of using logic, science and reasoning, inshallah, I feel it is not difficult at all to convince the atheist. As far as I'm concerned, alhamdulillah.
Yeah, so let's talk about when you talked about science. I think that's going to be really interesting. But let's talk about the first thing that he was saying is that the first thing that Zakir Naik was saying that is that, well, he's saying that, you know, people, when kids come up or when anybody comes up or non-Muslims come up and ask these difficult questions about Islam, and people reply, they try to reply, they're not necessarily qualified to reply, right? They say that, you know, they have, he's saying that they're not qualified. You need to go to a scholar. You need to go to somebody who's well versed in this, because someone's not well versed, then they're going to reply to that question and they may give you the wrong reply, right? So what's really interesting about this is that on the one hand, he's saying that we need to engage, we need to answer these questions. We shouldn't like swat them away, but at the same time, if they do come up with the questions, they should be answered by someone who has the knowledge of it. Okay, so even though he's saying that this is a problem that needs to be fixed, to me, it feels like a recipe for disaster. It's just not workable. It's not scalable. The vast majority of Muslims who have kids, who have students who are coming up and they're asking them questions about Islam, and they want to defend the religion and they want to get them back in the fold, they are actually not. The vast majority of people are not well versed enough to answer these questions. So if he's insisting that we engage with these young people and answer their questions, but at the same time he's saying that they should only be answered by like someone who's learned and has knowledge, this strategy is doomed to fail, which is great, right? Which is great, because it is going to be doomed to fail. So I think that's already right off the bat, I found that part of it really interesting.
Yeah, here's the thing: it is doomed to fail. However, what will not fail is a Zakir Naik and Yasir Ghadi, because what you have to understand that Islam will keep becoming less and less relevant, right? However, Yasir Ghadi will use the fact that atheists are growing as a way to sell his brand of reformist narrative. Like, he doesn't call it a reformist because that's a taboo word to use, but his brand of Islamic teaching and his courses, right, he will be able to use this as a way, like, guys, look at this. You guys keep saying that the traditional scholars, well, they're losing. we're losing the youth to Islam, using the youth to atheism. People are leaving Islam, right? That's why we need a new method. We need a new strategy. And that's why you have to buy my course. Because instead of all these traditional Islamic scholars who just memorize the hadith and memorize the Quran and memorize the tafsir and just repeat it and all these other so-called scholars who they have no critical thinking skills and don't question anything and have nothing new to offer. Unlike those people, we here in my courses and my institutions, we actually do analyze things in a scholarly way, and we actually come up with new ways of, we actually question the authority. We don't we don't care how big of a name these Islamic scholars are. We look at everything in an analytical way, and we have the answers. We have the answers in a way that modern Muslims, modern youth will find as a much stronger answer to these atheists and to these people who are challenging their Islam. Which is, by the way, this is something that traditional Islamic scholars hate, right? So yes, this is why, and also Zakir Naik also, he's not going to go away because he's also like, you know what? I'm a medical doctor or whatever, right? He is, right? He's like, yes, science, right? I have this science thing is like, everybody is like, oh, science is against religion and all. That's why we have to use their own weapon against them. And that's where I come in, because I'm a medical doctor, right? So like neither Yasser Ghadi or Dr. Zakir Naik, like I don't think like atheism growing for them is not a loss to them. To them, this is an amazing opportunity to show why the traditional model is not working and why you need this so-called doctor who's a scientist and this this academic, this scholar who is a genuine scholar, who is like Yale, like is recognized as a scholar by Western academia. Why you need these people to combat this rise of atheism? So they are very motivated in highlighting the rise of atheism, both of them.
Yeah, I mean, that I do think that obviously there's the self-promotion, and I'm the only one I alone can save you. Remember who else said that? Like I think that there is that motivation for sure, but I do think that both of these people, especially Zakir Naik, I think he has a general concern about losing the youth to Islam. I think it's a sincere concern. I think he does come from a place of good faith, even if he's wrong. But yes, he does want people to, like, there are scholars. There's people like, for example, Mufti Abu Layth, right? Like, he comes up with a really, really cool, different sort of idea of what Islam is. He's a very different kind of person. And that's a kind of thing that can really keep a lot of youth, like a lot of young people really like him. But Zakir Naik is kind of opposed to that. He's like, because a lot of times they answer things, they're not qualified, and they say things that are against the Quran and that are un-Islamic. So he is advocating for his own interpretation. But, this is to expect every young Muslim who has doubts and reads stuff online and goes and asks their parents a question, to expect them all to say, well, I can't give you this answer, I'm not learned enough, you have to go and listen to Zakir Naik and everything. That's just not, it's like when you have to double click or to go like have 3 or 4 different clicks to actually end up buying something online or to get to a website, right? I mean, it's not very user friendly. It's not a user friendly method to get to things. So and then the science aspect. Well, go ahead, Armin. Do you have something to say? I wanted to say something about the science aspect too, but
no. I just want to say I wasn't suggesting at all that, because I know. That, yeah, but let me just say this.
Yeah.
That Zakir Naik, for example, I was very careful about how I word this, because I didn't want to suggest that I know that he's happy that atheism is growing, right? Like, if I had to guess, I mean, these people, like, they have to sleep, they have to be able to sleep at night, and they want Islam to grow, so they will be like, no, I'm upset, atheism shouldn't be growing, right? Like, I mean, I can't read these people's minds, but if I had to guess, I would be charitable, and I would be like guessing that what they say they're upset about, they're actually upset about, right? They're not but the way I worded was not that he is trying to, like, he is that he is like secretly like, yes, atheism is growing and now I become more relevant. No, but I'm just saying that this will benefit them, right? This will benefit them, and they are trying to market themselves as the solution to all of this to these problems, without me suggesting that they're secretly happy about it. They might be, I don't know. Like maybe they're so secretly happy about this that they're not even admitting to themselves that they're secretly happy about this. You know what I mean? Like maybe there's some part of them that just like, oh my, this is my chance. This is our. I mean, not that they need a chance; they're already very big. But this we come. But again, we can't read minds. We're gonna assume the best of intentions, and that they're not frauds or anything like that. That they actually do think that they're gonna make the world a better place by doing what they're doing. Anyways, I just want to make sure I clarify that.
Hey guys, if you want to join these streams live, get your comments and questions read by Ali and Armin and the guests, and most importantly, to get full access to the full video versions of all these episodes, become a patron. Link in the description below.